Hey kids, comics! Silver-haired Bronze Age babe here, yakking about her comic book collection, and today, talking about Deadman. I've mentioned before on these things, I think, that I really like the Deadman character. I came across him when I was a kid because there were a couple stories that were in some of the coverless wonders that I had back then. Also, he was regularly reprinted in a lot of the comics in the early 70s that I got. So I've always had a thing for Deadman. What I don't have a thing for is paying top dollar to get the original books that his original run stories appeared in, the Unbelievable Strange Adventures or whatever it's called, it said. They're awfully pricey. But when I got back into comic collecting, I realized that DC had helpfully put out in 1985 a reprint series about Deadman. So it's like, you know what? I'm not usually a fan of that, but this time around, I like Deadman so much I got to do it. So I got these. They can be had at a very reasonable price. I also want to mention that the book right there, the Erlen Schumer book about the Silver Age of comic book art, he talks about Deadman a little bit, but he also has a really interesting presentation that he gave about Neal Adams that you can find on the YouTube. And he has an in-depth discussion about the art that Neal Adams was doing once he took over the Deadman run. The first episode of Deadman was drawn by Carmine Infantino, but then Neal Adams was able to take over because Infantino got kind of promoted and was very busy. And so, to enjoy these stories is not only I just like the concept anyway of a person who was murdered and his ghost is wandering around trying to find his killer, but the artistry of Neal Adams in these things is just, it was amazing when I was a kid and it's still amazing now. I just want to point out, I don't know if you can really see that, but one of the things that Schumer talks about is how Neal Adams just does such a great job of finding these kind of quiet moments that that just are very powerful. And it's just this tiny little picture of the clown saying, hey, it's not part of the act. I don't know. I just find it really moving. So this collection puts together, I think, all of the original Deadman stories from the late 60s and maybe into the early 70s. The covers it's basically the same covers that were on the original books, although a little more stylized, a little jazzier with the colors, I think. People, I'm sure, recognize that from a very famous Brave and Bold cover. And I really appreciate having all these things at the ready so I can just read the entire saga from start to finish. And I like that. And now I have griped before about wanting to read things on old-time comic book paper. This, I think, it's a higher grade comic book paper, and it's fine. It's better to me than the current kind of paper that they print on, but you can tell and this is an original issue that I had, and you can tell how they amped up the colors a little more, but it's pretty true to what the original was, and so I guess I can put up with that, just because it does make the art that much more exciting. And again, just to have all these in one place, it's pretty neat. So I'm glad to have it in the collection. Well, thanks for stopping by. I'll see you next time.